Classroom concerns tonight in Minnesota. State data finds 1 in 4 students are consistently gone from class, and that can have all sorts of negative effects. It's why a panel of state lawmakers is looking at solutions. Caroline Cummings reports on the problem and ideas to fix it.
Silas, would you please read the learning target for the class?
The state is searching for solutions for students who don't show up to school. The American Academy of Pediatrics cites research showing poor school performance is linked to poor health outcomes in adulthood, and students who don't attend class regularly score lower than their peers on skills tests. This at a time when less than half of students in Minnesota are proficient in math and reading.
I would really say that the attendance piece for the academic performance is the fundamental base on which our school districts operate.
A legislative work group tasked with looking at the issue met on Monday. They're recommending better data collection and flexibility in existing funds or more money for school staff dedicated to truancy, among other ideas. Kirk Schneiderwind, executive director of the Minnesota School Boards Association, says the latter would allow schools to double down on their efforts.
When you're a principal or teacher, you have many different responsibilities during the day, and an additional piece around attendance is another responsibility that it would be great to have someone else to pick that up.
Right now, 12 districts across the state are participating in an attendance pilot program designed to develop strategies to improve student attendance. Lawmakers will look at the data from those schools, too, to inform their work as they try to tackle the problem next year. Caroline Cummings, WCCO News.
Districts in that pilot program are expected to present some of their feedback next month.